You are live now.
Perfect. That's great. Then I guess shall we wait for a couple of seconds, or shall we basically kick it off directly? Then I'll start it off. Hi everyone. My name is Stefan and I'm the co-founder of Saba Hospitality. I guess you were expecting my colleague Byron, who is unfortunately not available today, but I'll do the session on his behalf. I'd like to welcome you all to the session today and to the IVTM conference. Please feel free to take down questions and ask them at the end of the presentation. Perfect. Then the presentation today, or the topic of today, is why we think that tablets are a thing of the past. And before we'll jump in, I'll introduce a little bit about what Saba Hospitality does. So just a brief introduction on our company, Saba Hospitality, and what we do. And we build guest communication technology for the accommodation market, largely specializing in hotels, service apartments, and private rental accommodation. It's something that we've been doing for a number of years now. And we've been fortunate enough to work with all manner of hotels, from luxury large-scale hotel groups to smaller independents and economy properties as well. We've also had the privilege of working in many different regions. Basically, up till today, we've installed our solution in over 25 countries globally. And even though many people may think of us as a technology provider, technology company, we like to think of ourselves as an hotel operations company with a passion for technology. And that's not only due to our background as hoteliers, but because when we are building or enhancing our solutions, we don't just consider the guest experience, but also how the technology will fit into the end and enhance the property's existing infrastructure. But enough on us. Let's get on to today's session. We speak with a lot of hoteliers from all over the world on a daily basis on how they're doing, what types of technology they're looking at, and how we may be able to assist them. And one of the most frequent questions that usually comes up is, we're thinking of rolling out Inroom tablets. Can your solution sit on a tablet? And what do you think of that idea? The reply is usually that yes, absolutely, our technology can absolutely sit on a tablet or anywhere there's a web signal for that matter. But the far more interesting part of the discussion is then usually on the efficiency of the Inroom tablets more broadly and their value when compared to other technologies that can achieve the same goal. Yeah, and opinions vary greatly on this. We just recently wrote an article in Hospitality Quarterly, which received a lot of feedback, many supporting our views. But what was certainly evident was that the topic of Inroom tablets generates a lot of discussion. We thought that this makes it a perfect subject matter for a discussion like that at an event, such as IVTM. Now, it goes without saying that when implementing any technology for property, you should always carefully consider what outcomes you want to achieve and select the technology that best fits that goal. And in the case of guest-facing technology, are you looking to present information in digital format, provide the digital ordering platform where guests can order room service, poolside meal, or even amenities without having to contact reception? Or are you looking to increase promotional uptake, drive the guest experience, or offer a way for guests to chat with a hotel staff via text? So it could be all of them, it could be a combination, but in our experience, more often than not, when hotels are looking to implement tablets into their rooms, they're exploring ways to implement the digital communication platform into the property. And usually then a central hub where guests can access everything they need during their stay. So it's not just a lot of great benefits to digitalize the guest communication, but you can also reduce cost, create efficiency savings, and drive incremental revenue. So there are many reasons why digital guest journey is now an essential element to the guest journey. So with this in mind, the decision of whether to implement an Inroom tablet will lead to a comparison with technologies that can achieve, or at least largely achieve, similar outcomes. So these different technology solutions could be something like a property application, something like a loyalty app, or they could be a progressive web application, which is very similar to a property app but does not require any downloads. And that could also be the IPTV or smart TV system. Before I go on, I want to emphasize that we are by no means anti-tablets, right? Our whole team, like most people, we own and we use tablets on a regular basis, and they definitely have valuable uses, both in personal and professional sense. They are commonplace, right? Means which ironically negates the reasoning many hoteliers past and present implemented Inroom tablets in the first place, because they were seen as a sign of luxury and of innovation, and that hotel is then at the forefront of the guest experience. The tablet was used as or viewed as something that guests couldn't help but try when they see it. And when tablets were first introduced, I'll definitely agree. They were fascinating, they were interesting to explore because they were basically new. So basically tablets were new technology that many people didn't have access to on a daily basis. But then something similar was the DVD player. So I'm pretty sure that not too many hotel operators are looking to put DVD players into the guest room at the moment. And in addition, it's our view that hoteliers shouldn't be trying to force behavior, but rather provide the means for guests to control their journey and how they would like to do that. What I mean is that we are trying to push a guest towards using a device that they're unfamiliar with, they may be uncomfortable with, and you can easily provide a similar experience with the guest's own device. So you see that we are big believers that you should live where your guests live, and that you should leverage their existing behavior because that's what will ultimately build trust and a seamless guest experience. So ultimately there are many other reasons on why we're not particularly enamored with the Inroom tablet as a way to connect and communicate with the guests. Reasons that when combined bring us to the conclusion that the Inroom tablet just doesn't provide as much value as a tool to connect with guests when compared to alternative technologies. So what are these reasons, right? I think in the next couple of minutes we'll explore what they are, and then hopefully you'll leave with some additional points to consider when selecting what type of technology you implement to complement your existing guest communication strategies. First one, costs upon costs. So unlike alternative technologies that leverage the guest's own mobile device, Inroom tablets require investment into hardware, and that's likely going straight into your CapEx budget, as well as ongoing operational costs. We've done some indicative math on the subject, so because finances are important, especially coming out of the last 2 years where revenues have been declined and every cent counts. So at present, the cheapest tablet currently available on Amazon is about $60, and that is the commercial purchase and the volumes required by a regular, moderately sized hotel. So doing the math, right, a 100-room hotel is looking at $6,000 in hardware costs alone, and that is using the cheapest commercially available tablet on the market. And in reality, every hotel operator is not, or that's looking to implement an Inroom tablet solution will definitely not choose the cheapest tablet around, but it would be counter to the original reasoning behind the Inroom tablet strategy in the first place. And that's even before accounting for spares, because definitely there will be breakages, there will be theft, there will be poor battery life, because let's face it, most Inroom tablets spend the majority of their life cycle attached to the charger. So the exact opposite of what you're told when purchasing the mobile device. And unfortunately, to top that off, the significant capital expenditure is not a one-off cost, because you can expect that you'll need to spend that money every 3 years, which is the average lifespan of most tablets in a hotel environment. So get ready and open that checkbook, you will need it. Then as a next topic, there is the great uptake dilemma, because you can't really use what you don't have. It's not a secret. The key to success of any guest-facing technology is uptake. You can implement the greatest technology around, but if no one uses it, you may as well not have it. And if guests do use your technology, the goal should be to ensure it's used frequently. So in the case of guest-facing technology, this means giving guests the capability to browse offerings, order food and beverage, ask questions, or make a booking at your venues whenever they want. And I'll emphasize the last part of the sentence again, whenever the guests want, because in a digital world that we now live in, there's no reason why guests should not have access to and be capable of communication with the property throughout their entire guest journey on their own terms. Without putting too strong of a point on it, just by the very nature, the Inroom tablet only exists in the guest room, which makes it just a tiny fraction of the guest journey. Have a think about your own behavior when you travel, right? So firstly, how much planning is taken pre-arrival, right? You'll make your dinner plans, you book your day tours, you book recreation. Many of these decisions and the guest itinerary are locked in prior to even leaving the house, right? The ability to promote what the hotel has to offer is an invaluable way to drive incremental revenue. At the end of the day, right, operators would much prefer their guests to take up internal offers rather than look at external sources to fulfill their needs. Solutions that can only be accessed once the guest arrives on property and is in the room fail to capture these crucial opportunities to upsell hotel services. Then I'll basically ask the audience, right, once your guests are on property at the hotel, how much time do they actually spend in their room? If your guests are anything like me, right, then I go to the pool, I go to explore the local area, I use the hotel facilities. I don't really sit in the hotel room just scanning through the tablet, right? I'm sure you can see where this is going. How can a piece of technology achieve high volume and high frequency uptake when a guest only has access to it for a very short period of the entire stay? And basically it was a rhetorical question because an in-room tablet just can't, right? And that is, in our view, significantly impact on the effectiveness of an in-room tablet in comparison to other guest-facing technologies that either sit on the guest's own mobile device or can live with them throughout the entire guest journey. Then there's the question of connectedness. And as I've heard previously, when we connect, magic happens. And what I mean is that many proponents of the in-room tablet point to their ability to connect to existing hotel infrastructure, such as the property management system, the point of sale system, table management platforms, or job dispatch systems. And there's no doubt that tablet-based solutions have these connection capabilities. And in many instances, these connections allow for end-to-end automation of amenity requests, room service orders, or restaurant bookings. And yeah, we certainly agree that this can be invaluable for saving costs and improving operational efficiency, especially in large operations where there's a request and order volumes are high, right? And it can also help overcome one of the greatest challenges currently faced by many hoteliers, the challenge of staff shortages. However, other technologies such as progressive web applications or native hotel apps also provide seamless integrations with these systems. Just because they are accessed through the guest's own personal device that lives with the guest throughout the entire journey, does not mean that they cannot be accessed and interfaced, and you cannot leverage this automation throughout the various stages of the guest experience. For example, a guest could order drinks and snacks while lying by the pool directly from their phone without the need for waiting staff. This order could then flow into the point of sale system where it's actioned and delivered to the guest. Or consider this situation where the guest uses their phone to request additional amenities when in a taxi returning from a business meeting without having to call reception. And that request can then automatically be passed into a job dispatch system where it is directed to the appropriate resolver group, for example, the colleague in housekeeping. And these are just two examples, but I think it shows the opportunities for automation using a hotel's existing infrastructure. They're abundant, and when the guest is not restricted by technology that can only be accessed while in the room. Also, you should consider the most popular technologies since the COVID-19 pandemic began, which is anything contactless, right? So keyless entry and online check-in as well. And when considering contactless solutions, right, not only is the in-room tablet not contactless, but it requires constant cleaning by housekeeping staff, and failure to do so can really portray an unhygienic environment. And when considering keyless entry and online check-in, I have little doubt there will be many ways a guest will be able to check into a hotel and access their room in the future, but in-room tablets will never be one of them. And yeah, very simply because they are in the room, so you can't use them to open the door. Progressive web applications can provide a seamless connection to your digital wallet, or can be connected to a native application via deep links, allowing for a contactless guest journey fully integrated with the most popular technologies of today and of tomorrow. These are the technologies that your guests not only demand, but they now expect as an integral component of their guest journey. Show me the money. That's the great line from one of the best movies. It's from the movie Jerry Maguire. But what I'm really talking about here is the use of guest-facing technology to drive uptake of on-property offers or promotions. And those are really the impulse buys that when a guest is on property and sees there's a special, they can't help but take it up. And I'm sure you know all the type of promotions I'm talking of or speaking about. They're the F&B offers, happy hours, spa, tour promotions, really the experiences that will wow your guests. And there's no doubt that in-room tablets provide a great mechanism to advertise or send push notifications to guests informing them of these type of offers. But in order to do so, the guest must be actively interested in and using the device inside the guest room. And I think you'll be all expecting me to return to the point that guests will only see these notifications when they're in the room. But I think we've labored on that idea enough now, so I'm sure you'll get the point. But in addition to that, actually, guests have many devices that are competing for their attention at any given point in time. And in fact, there was a study in 2020 from Deloitte saying that the average American household owns 25 connected devices. And all of these 25 connected devices, they don't just draw the guest's attention away from the in-room tablet, but they also require charging. And with limited power outlets available in all the hotel rooms, what device do you think gets discarded or unplugged first? And yes, you guessed it, the in-room tablet is the one that is discarded first. Why? Because it's the one device that the guest is not familiar with and sees as dispensable within their highly connected world. Another common and somewhat valid argument for the implementation of an in-room tablet is the ability to stream content. And there's no doubt that guests love streaming, and many tablets connect through to a hotel's IPTV system for easy access to streaming services. But is it really the streaming itself that guests love? No doubt that's one of the components, but what really creates that seamless streaming experience and what guests love the most is the ability to switch on a device, have all their favorite shows listed and which episode they're due to watch next, and continue watching from where they have left off. And having to search for a show, scrolling through the episodes to find what you want to watch doesn't produce this luxurious and innovative experience that one would hope for when investing in a tablet solution. By far the easiest, cheapest and best way for a hotel to achieve such convenience is via casting of the guest's own mobile device. And those who love streaming and demand it as part of their guest journey will do this via their own device anyway. So our advice for streaming is investing in in-room tablets is not the answer. Instead, you should invest in a great smart TV. And then there's safety. And that's very different to hygiene. We have already covered the idea that the in-room tablet is not really providing that contactless experience demanded by guests post-COVID, and if not cleaned regularly, can actually serve to highlight an unhygienic environment rather than high-level health and safety practices. And yeah, if the last few years of COVID have taught us anything, it's that the safety of our guests should be, and is rightly so, the hotel's number one priority. And if you're in any doubt about this, then I'll simply point to the fact that the vast majority of current technological investment in accommodation settings is going towards solutions that make the guest feel comfortable within the hotel environment. While hygiene is certainly a major consideration, there's also another real safety issue that is raised by the implementation of in-room tablets, and that's the issue of fire hazards. This week, the London Fire Brigade attends 24 fires that have resulted from mobile device chargers, batteries, or cables. In fact, their official recommendation is that you should not leave items continuously on charge after the charge cycle is complete. And however, most hotel operators choose to leave the in-room tablets continuously charging. And the reason for that is very simple. It's if the device is flat and out of battery, guests won't be able to see the content that's being offered. And then essentially the tablet becomes useless. The in-room tablet is left on continual charge, resulting in an unnecessary real fire hazard to each and every room. But as I said, don't take my word for it. Visit the London Fire Brigade website and you'll get all the information you'll need to know. Finally, there's the argument of transitioning towards the in-room tablet for environmental reasons. And it's moving towards removing paper-based collateral from all the rooms. And for us, that's a great decision. We love that, and we're huge believers in environmental sustainability. In fact, we actually plant trees for every new client that we work with. And apart from the environmental considerations of shifting towards digital platforms for guest communication, there's also a real cost saving. So all the printing costs associated with the traditional in-room compendiums, reprinting menus or other marketing materials, these costs almost instantly disappear. As we previously discussed, every dollar counts, but adding another device made of plastic, rare metals, and many other hard to recycle materials to an already energy-hungry world well, we're not sure if this will win you any accolades from Greenpeace anytime soon, no matter how well you intend it to be. There you have it. So as a synopsis of our thoughts on Inroom tablets, it's not such technology that doesn't add value. As always, it's about identifying what goals you are trying to achieve and what type of technology will best help you achieve that goal, accounting for considerations such as guest demographic, cost, and other technology you already have. And our simple point is that the days of in-room tablets as being high-end luxury are well gone, and that the remainder of potential advantages can be achieved at lower cost with greater guest uptake using other types of technologies such as progressive web applications. And at the end of the day, achieving the same outcome with less money, higher guest usage, well, that should be the goal of rolling out any new technology into a hotel environment. Yeah, and I guess that's the end of the discussion already. If you want to discuss this topic further or in greater detail, reach out to us, visit us at our booth here at ITBM, or visit our website and drop us an email.
Thank you so much, Stefan.
Thank you, Mr. Stefan. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.